we all are aware of ourselves a little bit, okay, if not deep diving into it, but a little bit we are aware, but still this question
Mhm.
keeps coming that, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I have done this,
Mhm.
I've achieved this, but still I'm lacking
Right.
something. So one
Right.
of my friends, he always keeps on saying that, I want to know the purpose. Can you help me with the
Mm.
purpose of my life? Like, so
Mm.
sometimes it is just about being yourself and following the process, being
Yeah.
patient with because life will, somewhere or the other, if you sit with
Mm.
yourself, it will tell you what you are meant for. It's just, for
Right.
some people, it comes pretty early on, and for some people,
Yeah.
it takes time, but it's a journey. It's pretty subjective.
Absolutely. I think you just quickly spoke about law of rhythm and law of attraction, right?
Okay.
Rhythm revive. Law of rhythm simply means there is divine timing and rhythm for everything that is supposed to happen in your life. So, like you said, it comes in sooner for some people, it doesn't for some people because they're supposed to go through certain
Right.
experiences to get there. And law of attraction is simply, yes, when your friend is thinking about what is my purpose, he's already thinking about what his purpose is. So
Mm-hmm.
he is attracting his purpose more towards him. But perhaps the attitude towards thinking, instead of thinking, what is my purpose? Perhaps if he thinks, okay, now I know I have a purpose in life and I'm going to sit and
Mm-hmm.
figure out what my purpose is going to be. Just that small change in his mind shift is going to bring him closer to his purpose a bit faster, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
than it would. So,
Right.
yeah, this is very interesting.
Yeah, and I think slowly and slowly we get into that thought process with our own selves or with the help of coaches. So I think you meet the right people at the right time, and it happens eventually if it has to happen, right? It's said like that.
Right.
So superb, yeah. So self-awareness, like as you said, who am I? And it's a journey, and of course we
Mm.
have to get out of the layer of the identity. If we can do that, how can we, if somebody's seeing this video, it's like, what are they talking about? Okay,
Mm.
so we are that identity, right? At the end of the day, we
Right.
are, I'm a CA, or I'm maybe an engineer, I'm a doctor, uh,
Right.
and of course, as you said, the family things. How can we take out the layer of the identity that we have? And it's a conditioning that we have built since
Mm.
it's
I
been
agree.
years now. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so there are a few things we could do. Again, when it comes to self awareness, there's no right or wrong way to do things, but it's always trial and error. You try different. So, for example, when you get into spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
you try different modalities of maybe, let's say, yoga or meditation or some kind of healing, and you figure out what modality works for you. And that only happens through trial and error. You can't just try one method and say, this didn't work out for me, I don't think I can do this, right? So, very
Right.
similar to that, very similar to spirituality, self awareness. I'm able to relate to this, and I'm trying to give an analogy so that it makes it easier for our audience to relate to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, certain things that you can start off with is when you meet new people. This is very out there. When you meet new people, you usually start off with, okay, let you and I have a conversation. Let's say we're
Mm-hmm.
meeting for the first time, and
Okay.
I'll just introduce myself. What we essentially do is, hey, hi,
Mm-hmm.
Sahytya. I'm Deepa. I'm from Bangalore. I had the HR for X and X companies, and I'm a
Okay.
happiness coach. And I'm about
Wow.
35 years old. These are my interests, and it's nice to meet you. So you see
Mm-hmm.
what I did there? I started off with my work, which a lot of people do. When you
Mm-hmm.
meet people, the first thing people ask you is obviously for your name, and the immediate next thing they talk about is, okay, maybe they say, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
But the third question for sure is, what do you do?
Right.
Right. And why is the question, what do you do, always related to work?
And everything,
Doesn't matter.
when it comes to, what do you do? It's pretty much the judgment idea is already set in.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, so it's also about, so what I'm trying to say here is, irrespective of what the question that comes towards you, it's all about how you take it. So
mm,
when somebody asks, what do you do? I say, I do gardening. I love
mm-hmm.
playing with animals. I like to paint. I like to read books. You get what I'm saying, right? So I
Yeah.
am speaking more about how I enjoy and cherish my inner child, which
Mm-hmm.
is being more aware and being more accepting of my authenticity than directly jumping into work. Because honestly, you are outside of your work. I mean, if you enjoy your work, then it doesn't feel like work. That I completely accept. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you're outside, you would want to talk about anything but work, like you're out for a break. So why again get back to what you do and what somebody does? Because you're sort of labeling them with the title or labeling them with what they do, because you probably, I mean, it could also come from a place where you probably don't know what else to talk about, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
somebody comes to you with a question, self-awareness, for the first thing you would do is, when you meet people, start off with introducing yourself and keep your titles aside. Don't speak about where
Mm-hmm.
you are from. Don't speak about, because a lot of times we're also biased with geography, right? If somebody is from the same state, if they speak the same language, oh, we get super
Right.
excited, which is a
Yeah.
very natural human tendency. But leave all of that aside and have that conversation. So you are exploring yourself while having that conversation also. And you could become more self aware at that time. That's one thing. Secondly, when you just try to, I know meditation is not easy for most people, because
Mm-hmm.
I was also that person. See if you can sit with yourself for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
time works for you. Because just think about it. It's like you're using this phone for 20, however old you are, without
Mm-hmm.
rebooting it even once,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are just running. And when you sleep, your brain is still functioning. There are organs in your body that are still working. So you're not putting yourself for rest. The only time you pause yourself is when you sit all by yourself. Yes, the first 3, 4 minutes may seem very tormenting, because what does your mind do when you ask it not to do something? Like, you tell your mind,
Mm-hmm.
please, mind, quiet. And that's when your mind gets so loud. Sit through it.
Yes.
Like, don't resist it. Let the thoughts come in. 3, 4 minutes, and then you will hear that peace and quiet, and it feels so good. Which is why a lot of people say after meditation, they feel so fresh. And
Mm-hmm.
you do feel mentally fresh. Yes, there are also people who speak about meditation may be different for everyone. It could be music, it could be dance. Do anything that allows your mind to quiet down or slow down a little bit, because you know what happens when you go out on a break or a vacation and come back, right? You get
Mm-hmm.
that sort of pause essentially.
Right.
So yeah, these are probably two things that you can start off with. And one final thing, mirror technique. Man,
Okay.
that does wonders.
Yeah.
That's a great way. I did speak about this in our previous session.
Yes.
The first couple of times you could be uncomfortable, because it's weird looking at yourself in the mirror and having conversations and saying, you're beautiful. And it
Right.
was one of the most uncomfortable things that I did. The first couple of times were not easy, because I could not accept the fact that I am beautiful when I told that to myself, or you're enough. Like, oh my God, Sahytya, we need to do a podcast just about this. I am not, like, I am good enough. Just to get used to that
Mm.
was was mind blowing. So start these techniques perhaps, and this is simply to help you accept yourself as a person stripped of your titles.
Mm-hmm.
And and this is going to be your journey, because you're going to start learning a lot about yourself. Like, I mean, we're all like onions, right? There are layers and layers and layers that
Right.
we need to peel, and finally we get into that little sweet spot in the onion where we are like,
Mhm.
okay, this is us. So
I really
yeah,
love the
I think
examples that you're giving, to be honest. It's getting stuck
thank you
somewhere
so much.
at this in the subconscious mind. The way you brought this up about the phone, we're not able to reboot. We're not rebooting ourselves, right? Using
Right.
laptops, mobile phones every time, all the gadgets in the world, and we are
Yeah.
restarting that, right? But we're
Yeah.
not restarting, rebooting ourselves. The sleep that we are having, that is also like not a deep sleep. We're not recharging in the best way possible today in today's life. You touched upon beautiful things. I think the three things that you told about, whether it's mirror technique or how can we reboot ourselves, all of this really made sense. And uh, to be honest, this will definitely it can be for the first step towards self-awareness. For the audiences, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. uh, put down your comments, and we are coming up with a lot of workshops which will help you revive your energy, which will help you dive into self-awareness, and which will also help you get towards personality assessment. So a lot of things coming up for you. If you wish to connect with us, make sure that you can DM us on the numbers that we have given in the description box. And yeah, see you soon in the next video. Take care.